I have now owned the ROG Ally X for 3 months now, and in my previous full review on release, I gave it a relatively positive outlook, essentially saying that it's pretty much the best out there right now. But after using it very often for the past few months, does that review still hold up? Is the Ally X still awesome 3 months later? Let's talk about what I like, what I hate, and how you should carry around your gaming handhelds using the sponsor of this video, Tomtoc.
If you're like me, you take your gaming handheld everywhere, but sometimes it's hard to find the perfect bag to hold it. Enter the G47 travel bag from Tomtoc, the ultimate solution for all your gaming gear. Unlike bulky traditional cases, the G47 travel bag features a sleek, minimalist design with smooth lines and soft touch fabric. It's compact, lightweight, and perfectly portable, ideal for commuting, road trips, or outdoor adventures. Inside, you'll find a dedicated compartment for your Steam Deck, ROG Ally X, or any gaming handheld on the market, plus extra space for docks, chargers, cables, and more. Keep everything organized with divided pockets that prevent clutter. I personally love carrying this bag as my travel on for flights. It can fit my handheld as well as my passport, headphones, and power bank, all in a convenient bag that can easily go through security. So if you're ready to level up your travel game, click the link in the video description to check out Tomtoc's Black Friday sale, where this bag is on a huge discount. And use my code JASONG47 to get an extra 5% off your purchase on Amazon. And thanks again to Tomtoc for sponsoring this video.
So a few things have changed since I first bought this 3 months ago. At the time, I was primarily playing on a Lenovo Legion Go, mostly because I felt it was comfortable and I really enjoyed the massive screen. But since then, I found myself reaching for this guy more often than not. One of the main reasons being the battery life. The Legion Go is sporting a 49.2 watt-hour battery. And while this is larger than the original Steam Deck or Ally, if you play games at a bigger refresh rate or resolution that is available on the Legion Go, you end up getting less than 2 hours sometimes. Meanwhile, the Ally X has an 80 watt-hour battery, absolutely huge for this form factor. And since the resolution can only go up to 1080p and the refresh rate is slightly lower, the real-life battery on the Ally X has been pretty amazing. Using standard settings, I'm able to get about 3 to 4 hours even in AAA games. And when I play lower in games like Dave the Diver and I kick back the refresh rate a bit, I've been able to get over 6 hours sometimes. Now, to be honest, I always have a power bank on me, or I'm playing in my living room where I could easily just plug it to a wall. But I just hate the idea of being tethered when playing my handheld, and I really like the feeling of getting lost in a game and not having to constantly have this lingering feeling of a dead battery hanging over my head. So needless to say, the battery life in the Ally X is its main draw over the other handhelds at the moment, in my opinion at least. Now, another thing I've enjoyed on it is the 2 Thunderbolt ports that are conveniently placed at the top of the device. I recently took a 3-week vacation to Japan and I brought the Ally X with me, not only as my gaming device, but also as my main computer. I even brought a little portable keyboard to type on it so I could stay on top of emails, organize my footage, that kind of stuff. And this thing handled it all like a champ. I was able to prop it up and do everything I need directly on that 7-inch screen. And since the USB-C ports are super fast, I was able to offload any footage or files I have on the device to my external SSD at blistering speeds. Being able to use the device as a personal computer, running Windows, and still have access to super fast high-speed storage was an absolute blessing. It really made me think that maybe I could start editing a video right then and there directly off my external SSD. I also love that this port isn't proprietary anymore like the original Ally, meaning you can use any Thunderbolt eGPU dock you'd like to turn it into a full-fat gaming desktop experience. I don't really do that, but I can always appreciate open systems like that with access to third-party accessories. Oh, by the way, I'm in the middle of a challenge to use the ROG Ally X as my main computer for 30 days, so you're going to want to get subscribed to get notified of when that video comes out. It's actually kind of shocking. Now, for the past month, I actually decided to finally try out Bazzite, and I ended up dual booting it, meaning half of my SSD is Windows and the other half is running Bazzite OS. If you're unfamiliar with Bazzite, it's an open source operating system that aims to basically be a clone of SteamOS. Although I don't think they'd ever say it so bluntly, but that's actually what it is. It's an easy way to get the Steam Deck software experience on devices that aren't, well, Steam Decks. And it works pretty well actually. When looking at Bazzite, it looks almost exactly like SteamOS on a Steam Deck. They even programmed all the extra buttons depending on your device. So you can still access the quick menu on the ROG Ally X to change power draw and all that. It plays games just as well as the real SteamOS would, and I haven't ran into any compatibility issues yet. This is an absolute game changer for a lot of people, since the #1 complaint I hear about these Windows handhelds are that they don't run SteamOS. Well, now you can have your cake and eat it too. So being able to have the best of both worlds has been pretty awesome. I play most games on Bazzite, and if there are any games that don't run well on Linux, I'll just switch over to Windows and play it normally. I'll admit I do miss that huge Lenovo Legion Go screen. It's just so larger than life and makes it feel like less of a toy and more of a tool, if that makes sense. But don't get me wrong, it's still absolutely a toy. But it's just so immersive to have that beautiful large screen when gaming. But in most scenarios, in reality, the smaller Ally X screen is more appropriate. When on flights, the Legion Go can be an absolute eyesore and take up more space than you really want it to. Sure, the screen looks just as good as ever, but you really do draw a lot of attention from passers-by, and it doesn't quite fit well into the seat pocket. Meanwhile, the Ally X has such a slim design and low-profile screen that it can pretty much fit wherever you need it to. In small carry-on bags, the seat pocket, your actual pocket if you're wearing jeans from the 2000s. The Ally X screen is also more favorable at night, just producing less light and being less of a bother. If I'm trying to play late at night when my partner is sleeping, I don't want this massive screen putting off a bunch of light in the room. The Ally X is just more stealthy and streamlined compared to the huge bright Legion Go screen. I have really appreciated that about it. And while I mentioned in my original review that the handles on the device are so much better than the original Ally, which is true, it's just not as good as the Legion Go in my hands. I really want to hold on to something that feels like an actual controller, and the Legion Go provides that. The Ally X certainly feels better than the original Ally since they removed those horrible straight lines and gave you something to grab onto. But frankly, I just can't get into these types of handles. It's the same reason why I prefer a controller like the G8 Galileo over the Razer Kishi. My pinky and ring finger need something to grab onto. I don't like them just dangling raw in the wind. It feels really uncomfortable after a long period for me, so I would have loved an even more controller-like grip like we had in the Steam Deck and the Legion Go. I did see that they sell comfort grips for the Ally X, which probably solves a lot of these problems, but they aren't selling the STL files yet, and I'd much rather just print it myself. This is a small issue, as the comfort of the machine is otherwise pretty good. But if it was any closer to a Razer Kishi levels of controller, I honestly would say it might be unplayable for me. So I'm glad that Asus finally found out what human comfort is. I still wish this thing had at least one trackpad on it. Navigating windows especially gets very annoying using the joystick, so I usually just end up using the touchscreen with my finger. Having even just one trackpad on it would crank this machine up an entire letter grade. It's that good. But using Bazite, it's not often I'm even using my trackpad, so I'd say this is passable for now. I still really like the triggers on the handheld. They feel more like the PlayStation 5 controller triggers, which are kind of out and about. You don't feel like you're pushing into the controller, you feel like you're actually pulling a trigger, if that makes sense, which is a totally great feeling when playing games. Even the bumpers feel good on this machine, as they have that texture on them that gives you instant feedback to know where exactly on the bumper your finger is. After testing the MSI Claw and feeling how horrible feeling having a line down the middle felt, this bumper is an actual gift from the heavens compared to the MSI Claw. I'm also still a fan of how quiet the entire machine is. Rarely, or practically never, do I hear the loud brrr of over-exhausted fans trying to wake up my partner in the middle of the night. It's never hot to the touch in my hand, and it's not working overtime to keep those fans blasting. That's a double win in my book. Alright, so after 3 months of almost daily usage, do I still recommend the Ally X? Absolutely. It's an amazing device that has a lot going for it. I'd say it's the most well-rounded of any of the handhelds so far. Sure, it doesn't have the giant screen of the Legion Go, or the ultra comfort of the Steam Deck, or the Intel of the MSI Claw, I guess. But on average, I'd say every part of this machine has a slight edge over all the competition as a whole. No gimmicks to be found here. Just good hardware, good software, and a package that is the perfect size for most hands. Now again, that price comes to mind, as the Ally X is being sold for $800 US. But the Ally X comes with 1 terabyte of storage space, 2 Thunderbolt ports, a huge battery, and a machine that stays quiet and cool. It makes sense why they charge more for it. And if all those things matter to you, then it might be worth buying it over the alternatives. But if you're new to the handheld gaming space and you're looking for something more simple and streamlined and cheaper, then you really can't go wrong with the Steam Deck OLED. I think you're gonna have an amazing time playing games either way. And if you wanna see my full reviews of the Ally X and the Steam Deck OLED, you can check out those videos here. But before you do, give the video a like and drop a cat emoji in the comments if you made it this far into the video. Oh, and get subscribed for more technology content. My name's Jason. Thanks for watching.